to go with that, to complete that narrative, we look at the tools. And again, شباب 25 الجميل is expected to be silly. And here, peacefulness is being fetishized as an object in and by itself, and as a yardstick to measure to what extent is this revolution acceptable or not, is it on the right path or the wrong path. It stops becoming a tool and becomes sort of an object in and by itself. Again, I remember clearly that on the 28th of June, we were in Tahrir, and they started to shoot and use tear gas against families of the martyrs, and a number of activists went down to the square. And I saw this man come running, carrying 2 big bags, and I assumed that he's bringing us masks or something for the tear gas. Ends up that the guy actually has 2 bags full of white candles, and he's asking us in the midst of all this to light the candles and stand properly because we look really bad on TV. And he's like, what will the world say about us that we're not peaceful anymore? Again, this takes out, I think this is very clear from the very first beginning of the revolution, from the 29th, when suddenly all the focus was on Silmiya, the Silmiya chants, and the Gene Sharp training. Gene Sharp, for those of you who, because I didn't know him until the BBC said that this is the guy who's responsible for actually instigating or inciting the Egyptian revolution, because he gave us a book with 100 tools of peaceful resistance that, of course, we all didn't know. We all read very, very hard before we went down on the square. Again, within this narrative, the element, for example, of the NDP headquarters and the police stations being set on fire on the 28th, which was a major tool in allowing us on the square physically to capture it as a space, is being completely dismissed. Rather, Obama talks about the Silmiya and the Wayne names, and this is taken out, and I think it's taken out for a clear purpose. This two-folded and just doesn't stand only within the boundaries of Egypt. I think it has to do with stopping us from questioning the Weberian understanding of the state as the one with the legitimate monopoly over the use of violence. And questioning this does not just pertain to the boundaries of Egypt, but I think it also extends to questioning how do we categorize proper and good resistance in a region like ours. And hence, I think it has its background in thinking that, when it comes to Palestine, for example, there's the bad resistance, which uses violence, quote-unquote, Hamas, and then there's the good resistance that uses, arm and stuff like this. So I think it has its roots in questioning the state itself as an object of rule and what it means now. And when and how are we entitled to question this along the liberal understanding of the nation state altogether, and in our region, the use of resistance broadly defined. And I think this takes me to my final point, which is the state altogether. I'm sure, again, a lot of us here have been following the whole narrative about Hadm al-Dawla and how the bad revolutionaries were seeking to break down the state. And in this narrative, the state, not just out of ignorance, but out of a conscious effort, the state is being equated with البلد and the people, الوطن. And in this, and again, I think here we're not just questioning the whole idea of the nation state, so to speak, which is a very modern invention, and especially in post-colonial societies like ours. But we're also questioning modalities of power and what's acceptable and what's not. And here, the state as the sole agent of rule, of use of violence, becomes sacred because it's the weapon. And hence trying to change or disrupt those structures, modalities of rule, the idea of governance and authority altogether, and not just how we're being governed, becomes an issue. My very final point, I think this is it's not a coincidence that at the same time that this became very clear in the narrative, the hegemonic narrative, that the agents were the anarchists and the revolutionary socialists. Again, we're talking about certain factions who not just question who is in power, but actually question what is power, how to define it, what is authority. I don't think that the three points that I talked about, the agents, the tools, and their object, are de-linked in any way. I think together the three provide that wannabe hegemonic narrative that we, as activists or revolutionaries, so to speak, need to deconstruct and provide a counter narrative to as part of the ongoing revolution. Thank you very much.